yesterday they played this 52-minute interrogation audio or tape of when A.J. Armstrong, this was just hours after the murder, after all of this happened and police left the scene. And so prosecutors stopped that interrogation tape twice, right, while the courtroom was listening. A.J. saying in that interrogation that he saw the suspect. And so, I mean, what can we take from that in sort of the prosecutors wanting to stop that tape?
I think they're just trying to highlight information that they think is important. So it's pretty common when you have a detective on the stand, you're showing an interrogation or a statement by a suspect that you want to stop and kind of make the points that you, the prosecutor, think are important. So that's what they were doing.
And so he says in that interrogation that he saw the suspect. I mean, so in subsequent interviews and later in other trials, did he take that back? I mean, is that why this is so relevant?
No, I think they are just highlighting it to say what his story is, because later they're going to probably argue that that was implausible and not believable. So I think what they're doing is they're highlighting things that they're later going to argue don't make sense or don't fit, especially with the alarm testimony.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. That was Jason DaCosta, the senior VP, and he's still, when we pick back up again today, he is expected to be questioned. Why is what he has to say relevant?
Well, I think the alarm testimony is one of the prosecution's strongest pieces of evidence, because this is a circumstantial case. There's no eyewitness, there's no real physical evidence. And so there's no smoking gun. So they're trying to build their case by small pieces of evidence, circumstantial evidence. The alarm evidence is important because the prosecution is saying, okay, AJ, you said there was an intruder in the house and that you saw him, but your alarm records show that no one came in during the time of the murder. So that is the importance of the alarm testimony.
That would seem very important, because I know that there was some questioning about how often the Armstrong family relied on that alarm. I mean, I know some families don't set it every night, but I guess he's there to talk about the records and what it would show on how often they used it.
That's correct. They're arguing that this was a family that was very vigilant about putting on their alarm each night, and therefore on this particular night it would be consistent that they would also do that.
Do we know did they set it that night? We know that detectives have said there was no sign that an intruder went into the home, but is that because the alarm was set and it never went off? Do we know that?
Well, what I anticipate is the expert that they have in this third trial is going to talk about some different things that they didn't talk about in the first two trials. They've called him as an expert witness to interpret the alarm records. So this might be a new piece of evidence in trial number 3 than from the previous two trials.
It's fascinating really to think after 2 trials you would think we've heard it all, right? I mean, 7 years and 2 trials, but now we're getting bits and pieces and new evidence and new information.
Yes, and that is unusual. However, both sides learn from each of the trials, and so that's why each subsequent trial, the prosecution has a little bit of an advantage because they are learning what didn't convince a jury the first time and trying to strengthen their case. They start thinking outside the box. What might else we put in front of a jury that would persuade them that this evidence is indicative of his guilt?
And one of those big, I would say huge pieces of evidence this time around that we didn't hear about in the first 2 is this DNA evidence that has been talked about. And we can just refresh people if you're just tuning in, if you haven't been following this case, is that now the defense says, or the prosecutors say, we have this badge that A.J. Armstrong that was put on his shirt when he went into the interrogation with the police, and that now we found this blood evidence on the back of this badge.
Well, that's certainly what the prosecution is going to try to argue. I think they're going to have to be very careful, though, in how they present this evidence, because, frankly, it's pretty suspicious in some ways that they've just discovered this blood evidence on his shirt in trial number 3, and not even well in advance of trial number 3. Obviously, as y'all have been covering, they didn't discover this until the eve that they were supposed to start testimony. A jury had been picked. So I think that this could give the defense a big opening to argue either police misconduct or police incompetence. And certainly with what they argued yesterday about how the investigators didn't search the entire house, they didn't talk to witnesses in the surrounding area, I think that gives the defense an additional argument to say, what kind of show are y'all running over there, and how can we rely upon this evidence when the investigation you've done is incompetent?
Good point. And on that note, dealing with that DNA evidence, we're hearing that a blood expert may be called today. I'm not sure if you know much about that, but can we talk a little bit about, okay, so this badge, now supposedly 7 years later, had some sort of blood DNA evidence on it. I mean, what would a blood expert, I mean, what do you think they would add to this?
Well, they could certainly talk about how it got there, blood spatter, how blood travels, how it might look upon impact of a shirt, a wall, things like that. And certainly they could explain how far blood could travel, things like that.
Okay.
Just kind of give an explanation for how did this blood come to be on this shirt.
Right. I mean, he was in the house. Certainly, whether he's guilty of murdering his parents or not, he was there, and yeah.
Certainly.
All sorts. Okay, that's interesting. Something else that was unusual, because we've been reporting that, the trial is expected to last until 6 o'clock every day. The judges said we're going to start 8:30, we'll wrap things up at 6, and then yesterday it ended early. Both Rick DeToto, John Jordan said we can't really talk about why, but I mean, what might happen? I mean, can you talk a little bit about that, about reasons why?
All kinds of things happen in trial. You always have this plan of how the day is going to go, and then something happens. It could be something as simple as a scheduling issue with a witness. It could be something that the defense needs time to review that they've just been given. It could be a variety of things.
Okay. All right. So we do know that day 4 starts in just a couple of minutes. We still have our crew there. Rowan Belogan will be there in the courtroom and provide us an update during our evening newscast. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Sort of make sense of a lot of what we're hearing and seeing. We appreciate it. Thanks. Our coverage of the A.J. Armstrong trial uses a lot of key legal concepts, so we've created a special playlist to help you keep up. You can visit clicktohouston.com/thebench